All right, let's dive right in and talk about China's J-20, the mighty dragon. Now, this is way more than just another fighter jet. We're talking about the absolute crown jewel of the People's Liberation Army Air Force, a real symbol of a massive technological jump that's, frankly, changing the entire game of air power. And don't for a second think this is just some parade piece. No way. America's own F-35s have actually had close encounters with the J-20. So, what was the verdict from the top U.S. Air Force general out there in the Pacific? Well, in his own words, he was relatively impressed with its command and control. Now, relatively impressed might sound kind of mild, but coming from the other side, that carries a ton of weight. So, you gotta ask, right? What exactly is this mighty dragon? I mean, how did this thing go from being some secret project to a top-tier fighter that's really challenging for control of the skies? Let's break it down. Okay, first things first, forging the mighty dragon. To really get a handle on the J-20, you have to go back to its origins. This plane didn't just appear out of nowhere. It's the end result of a very focused, decades-long push by the People's Liberation Army Air Force to build a truly world-class weapon. And what's just wild is the speed of it all. I mean, look at this timeline. The whole program kicks off in the late 90s. By 2011, the first prototype is in the air. And then, just 6 years after that, it's officially in service. That's incredibly fast. Then, in 2023, they hit another huge milestone, getting the final piece of the puzzle in place, a powerful, homegrown engine. That's a huge deal for China's military independence. All right, so let's pop the hood. What makes this thing tick? We're going to get into the anatomy of this stealth fighter and see what makes it a true 5th-gen machine. So, the absolute core of any stealth fighter is, well, stealth. Its ability to stay hidden. But here's the thing, it's not an invisibility cloak. It's much, much smarter than that. It's all about stealth shaping. Think of it like this. The plane's body is designed with all these specific angles and smooth, blended surfaces that don't reflect radar waves back to where they came from. Instead, they scatter them away in all directions, kind of like how a diamond deflects light. And that's what makes the J-20 so incredibly hard to pick up on radar. Okay, so let's get into the specifics of the design. You see those little wings up front near the cockpit? Those are called Canards, and they give this thing incredible agility. Then you have the engine intakes. They're called DSI intakes, and their special bumpless shape is all about improving stealth and helping it fly supersonic. A huge part of being stealthy is hiding your weapons, right? So the missiles are carried inside these internal weapon bays to keep that radar profile super low. And of course, it's packed with tech. A super powerful ASA radar up front, and a whole network of sensors that give the pilot a complete 360-degree bubble of awareness around the jet. You know, you really can't tell the story of the J-20 without talking about its engines. It's a huge part of the journey. Early on, it actually used Russian engines. But the first big homegrown breakthrough was the WS-10C. That's the engine that gave it super cruise, which is a fancy way of saying it can fly faster than the speed of sound without having to crank on the fuel-guzzling afterburners. But the real endgame, the engine this jet was always meant to have, is the WS-15. That's the one designed to unlock the mighty dragon's full, incredible potential. Okay, so a super high-tech jet is cool and all, but so what? What does it actually mean in the real world? Well, the deployment of the J-20 has completely changed the strategic map, especially out in the Asia-Pacific. And get this, we're not talking about a few prototypes here. The latest estimates say the People's Liberation Army Air Force has already built over 300 J-20s. That is a really significant number. It makes the mighty dragon one of the most numerous stealth fighters anywhere in the world. And it's not just about how many they have, it's about how good they're getting. I mean, you don't have to take my word for it. The Pentagon itself is saying that the PLAAF is constantly upgrading the J-20. We're talking more weapons, better engines, and even, get this, the ability to team up with drones. And this right here is probably the most crucial takeaway. For about 20 years, the US was the only country with operational stealth fighters. That was their monopoly. The J-20 absolutely shattered that. So while the US and its allies like Japan and South Korea have their own advanced jets in the region, the PLAAF is no longer on the outside looking in. They've leveled the playing field with a powerful, homegrown stealth fleet of their own. But here's where it gets really interesting. China isn't just playing catch-up anymore. With the J-20, it looks like the PLAAF is trying to write the next chapter in air warfare. And you can see this already happening because the J-20 platform is evolving. You've got the J-20A, which is the main single-seat fighter, but then there's the J-20S, This is the world's first ever two-seat stealth fighter. And let me be clear, that second seat isn't for giving someone a joyride. It's there for a radical new way of fighting. So here's why that second seat is such a game changer. It's all about something called the loyal wingman concept. The idea is simple but revolutionary. The pilot up front focuses on one thing, flying the plane. The operator in the back seat, their job is to command an entire swarm of unmanned combat drones. This basically turns one jet into the quarterback for a whole team of robotic wingmen. You can see how that just multiplies the jet's power and awareness on the battlefield. So what you're seeing is the J-20 truly evolving. It started out as what we'd call an air superiority fighter. Its job was to hunt other jets. But now it's a true multi-role strategic asset for the People's Liberation Army Air Force. It can do long-range strikes, it can do surveillance, electronic warfare, and, as we just saw, it can act as a command and control hub for a fleet of drones. So when you put all this together, it leads to one pretty critical conclusion. The J-20 Mighty Dragon is proof that China is now, without a doubt, a top-tier aerospace power. And with these really revolutionary ideas, like the two-seat model, it's pretty clear they're not just copying or following trends anymore. Which leaves us with the big question, right? Are they the ones setting the trends now? Is the PLAAF writing the playbook for the next generation of air combat?